Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're talking about the brand new Laura Mercier Ultra Blur Talc-Free Translucent Loose Setting Powder. That was quite a mouthful. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. Now, as many of you know, I have my online consulting service. So let's say you need help shopping. Maybe you have some makeup items that you'd like to pick up, but you're not sure and you don't want that sales pressure. My one-on-one consultation is great with that. I can help you pick out the best products for you, give you recommendation, and it's really personalized. You're not sharing me with thousands of other people here on YouTube. So if you want to make an appointment, click the link in the description box down below. Okay, so I recently picked up this new Laura Mercier Talc-Free Loose Setting Powder. So let's go ahead and break down the product. We'll do a demonstration. We'll include maybe a little bit of a swatch to show you the color, wear test, review, all that jazz. Okay, so first up, this new product is from Laura Mercier. Now, we know that there is the older version of the loose setting powder. I don't think that's being discontinued. I think this is just a new addition to the brand. The classic LM translucent setting powder is still available for sale. This is just a new addition. Now, I do have to say off the bat that I personally do not own the classic Laura Mercier setting powder, so I cannot compare them side by side, but I do have other loose powders that we can compare later on in the video. Okay, so the breakdown. This is $58 Canadian plus tax, and this comes in 3 shades. So there is translucent. This is the one that I picked up. This is described as very fair to medium skin tones. Then we have honey. This is medium skin tones with olive, warm, and golden undertones. And then the last one is medium deep to the deepest skin tones. Now, if we compare the original loose powder to this new and improved lighter version here, the lighter version claims to have 16 hours of wear, no photo flashback, and a soft matte finish. It claims to blur pores and imperfections. It has hyaluronic acid for comfort. It's ideal for normal to dry skin, which is shocking, and is ideal for everyday setting, just like everyday makeup. Whereas the original claims to have 24 hours of shine control. It has vitamin C, silica powders for oil control, and is more ideal for normal to oily skin types. And it says it's ideal for everyday setting and baking. So that's basically the two of them compared side by side. And these are the claims from the brand itself, which, you know, you'd think that they would know the product the best. So let's talk about the shade range here. I got translucent because I really wasn't sure to get the translucent one or the honey one, because I do think of myself as like light to medium. But when you think of bronzer, blush, etc., you are going to add more color to your skin. So I ended up getting translucent, which is described as very fair to medium. I would not consider myself very fair under any circumstance, but it actually did work out for me. Let's go ahead and dump out a bit on the back of my hand here just to show you what the color looks like. So this is a concentrated amount here. Obviously, when you apply it, it shears out, and it really, really does look translucent. Like it doesn't it sort of has color, but it's more translucent than anything else. When I apply it, I wouldn't say that I actually see a difference in skin tone very much, but we're going to go ahead and do a demonstration to show that for you guys. Now, this says that you should saturate your velour puff with powder and work the powder into the puff and then rub the halves and then tap off the excess and then apply. I did not know, I was not aware that the velour puff comes separately. You have to purchase the velour puff separately. So I did not get the velour puff. I used my makeup brushes because the velour puff was not included. Let's go ahead and just talk a little bit more about the product. This is a loose powder formula. It feels incredibly fine. Like when I was touching it, it feels very finely milled. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel chalky. It claims to be long wearing. It's fragrance free. It has a matte finish. It says it has hyaluronic acid for that comfort, and it says it's best for dry, combo, and normal skin. So I believe this is their answer to normal skin, dry, dehydrated skin types, because it doesn't say that it's best for oily skin. I would go ahead and go out on a limb here and guess that if you have very oily skin, perhaps the classic is more for you. So what I've been using to apply this face powder is this BK Beauty brush. This is the 104, and this is just a tapered loose powder brush. They have other ones that are wider. This is the 102, and this is just like a large loose powder brush. I like the tapered one. I just find there's a bit more control in application. So this is what I've been using. So what I've been doing is taking some product here, the translucent, going like this, and then just applying it. So I feel like there's dust everywhere, or loose powder. Let's go ahead and apply it here and see if we can see a blurring effect. I just picked up a bit more powder and it's flying everywhere. Wow. Oops. You can just like tap it like this, sweep it across, but I just want to focus more on that blurring. So let's go ahead and just sort of press it a bit into place. I feel like I look really pale without any blush or bronzer. It's an interesting look, like a full face of makeup with lipstick and no blush, no color. So I did half a face with this new talc-free blurring loose powder here. This definitely does have a matte finish, and you can see, let's get in a bit closer here, you definitely can see a mattifying effect. You can see which side of my face I went ahead and put a loose powder. I do think that this does offer a slight blurring effect. I don't know if it blurs as much as like the Chantecaille Hummingbird blurring powder or the Dior Backstage Powder No Powder. I'm talking about this one here from Dior. This is like a blurring powder. It says it's matte, but it's not really that matte. Like this one here is very blurring, and the Chantecaille powder here, they renamed it and it's like permanent now, but the Hummingbird was just a spring release from several years ago. But this one here is definitely very blurring, more than, I don't know, I feel like these two are like top blurring powders. When I think of this one here, it definitely offers a mattifying effect. It definitely sets your makeup. It definitely helps it last longer, but it does blur, but just, I don't think it blurs quite as much as my go-to blurring powders. Let's go ahead and do the other side of the face so we can just do like a full comparison. And now that this is done, let's go ahead and add some blush. I'm going into my Laura Mercier blush in Chai. This is Your Cheek But Better. It is such a beautiful, soft blush. It's sort of like if the most beautiful blush color met a bronzer. It's so pretty. And I just think it's very effortless. So as you can see, this new powder does work really well with other products. You can layer it on top of your blush, etc., and it's going to work out. Or you can do the powder first and then the blush, whatever you want. It's going to cooperate very nicely with other products, so don't be worried about that. I feel like I look like a ghost without bronzer now, so I'm going into Chantecaille Goa just to add a bit of color and depth to my skin. And again, this is a different brand, a different texture. It's like a baked gelée bronzer, and it's cooperating really nicely with the powder. So even if you don't have everything Laura Mercier, you can use this powder here with the rest of your regular makeup, and it's gonna wear nicely. Okay, now that I have a full face, I look more like myself. I recognize myself a bit more, and I do think it offers some blurring to it. It's just, when I think of Laura Mercier, I think more of like a loose powder, and there's something about a compact blurring powder. I think it's just like the way you apply it and you buff it. I find that a compact blurs a little bit more. However, I still really enjoy this powder because it's very fine, it's very finely milled. It feels like nothing, like there's no texture. It doesn't feel dry, it doesn't look dry, it doesn't settle into any cakiness, fine lines. Like I haven't exfoliated in a few days now and there's no buildup, it doesn't collect on anything. So I'm actually quite enjoying this. It's working out really nicely. It does appear to offer just like a sheer little veil of this translucent talc-free loose powder here. It does offer just like a very sheer veil of powder. It's really nice. I think the shade range could be a little bit better, but honestly, as you can see, this translucent, even though it's meant for like very fair to like medium, it works really well. Like you can see that there is like a little bit of color, but there's not that much. And like I said, you're gonna add bronzer, you're gonna add blush. So the shade range is not like the be all end all. I think what impressed me about this powder is that it does offer a certain continuous level of matte throughout the day, and it also does control the oil a little bit. I don't know if, I think the original is the one that's supposed to be more oil controlling, but the fact that this is a powder is going to mattify your skin. And I think if you have like dry skin, mature skin, dehydrated skin, this is definitely a loose powder for you because it doesn't get cakey, it doesn't build up, it doesn't collect. It just sort of acts very nicely and just is a beautiful final layer to your makeup. So let's go ahead and include the wear test here. This is, I think, 4 or 5 hours. It really hasn't moved. It stayed the same. Maybe there's a little bit more shininess on my forehead, but that's about it. Not even. I mean, it looks the exact same. I also find that it's nice if you wear glasses or sunglasses because setting your makeup here, you can actually take the powder and put some on the glasses. You know where your glasses sit right here? Take a little bit of the powder and apply some onto the rim of your glasses. It will help your makeup last longer and not transfer. Pro tip. Let's go ahead and compare because I do have some other loose powders that I'm a big fan of. My go-to loose powder is the Givenchy Prisme Libre. So this one here, the difference I guess would be that the shade range is more inclusive in Givenchy, and Givenchy, the Prisme Libre, has 4 colors that you mix together and it just creates like a beautiful harmony of loose powders. I also have the Tatcha Silk powder. I think that the new Laura Mercier powder is so close to this one here. Like when I was wearing it, I was like, this feels really and looks very familiar. It's really similar to the Tatcha setting powder. Like if you really, this one's supposed to be more radiant, but it's a powder. Like, I don't know, like you can tell that my skin looks mattified, but I have no highlighter on. There's still some luminosity to it. I find that the Givenchy one is more brightening, and I think that this one here from Tatcha is really close to this one here from Laura Mercier. Personally, from wearing it, like if you like the Tatcha powder, you're gonna love the Laura Mercier. And then I also have the By Terry hyaluronic acid powder. I wasn't a fan. I don't know, I feel like this one here was like my least favorite powder, so I can't even compare it because I don't even know what to say other than like I wasn't a huge fan of the By Terry one. I think I need to test it out again a bit more just to see. But yeah, I think if you like Tatcha, you're gonna love Laura Mercier. And I think it is close to Prisme Libre, but I think Prisme Libre, like I said, the shade is different, like the shade ranges. And this one is more brightening, illuminating. Whereas this one here is more blurring and has more, I don't know, like that soft veil. But I think if you like this one especially, but even if you like the Givenchy loose powder, you're going to really like the new Laura Mercier powder. I really like that this one here is talc-free. It feels really light. Like for some reason in my mind, I thought Laura Mercier powders would be very heavy and very noticeable, but it definitely helps blur imperfections. I am comparing it to these two because these two are like a solid holy grail powders, and this one is too. It's just a little bit different. I think the application is different. Maybe if I had a puff, I would press it a bit more and that would blur maybe a little bit better. I would recommend getting the puff with it. I just made a little oopsie. So maybe next time I go to Sephora, I'll pick up a puff and have a complete set here. But hold on. I'm back. That was Costco and I have my probiotics for the year. But yeah, I would say if you have dry, dehydrated, mature skin, this is a powder for you. If you tried the original and it was too drying, too heavy, too cakey, this is definitely for you. I think that this is just Laura Mercier's answer to a lighter, more moisturizing, hydrating, loose powder. I'm very happy to have purchased it. I definitely would recommend testing it out. Like I said, the shade range is like, it's really negotiable. Like you don't have to have like the exact right one. So as like a guinea pig, I picked the translucent one and I'm very happy with it. I think I'm going to be using this for a very long time. I mean, it's a loose powder, so it's hard to actually use up the whole thing. But yeah, I think it's a great product. I like that it came out in the summer too, because I feel like I'm more likely going to wear a powder in the summer just because it's a bit hotter and more schmoily. But yeah, let me know what you think. Have you tried the original loose powder? Let me know what you think, because I think the original loose powder was very divisive. Some people loved it, swore by it, and some people were like, oh my god, way too heavy, way too cakey. And as you can see, I also brought it underneath my under eyes here, and it does not dry out. It doesn't like settle into fine lines or whatever. So I do think if you want to place a little bit under your eyes like I did, you're going to be fine as well. So yeah, I would love to hear from you. What do you think of this new powder? If you're new to my channel, I hope you take the time to subscribe, and you can also hit your notification bell to get a notification when I post a new video. I talk a lot about luxury makeup. I mean, I talk about luxury makeup nonstop, and I have quite a few new product reviews coming out in the near future, so that might interest you. So let me know also what other new products you'd like to see me test out and review. I would love to hear from you. And I think that's it for today. So I thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.